This is the Kinvara 10. And today I'm going to be doing an honest, in-depth review of this shoe. What it's like out of the box and what it's like after 100 miles run in it. I want to tell you a couple things about this video. To start, this video is pure honesty. I don't have any strings on me. This is not being sponsored by Saucony, and I'm just going to be straight up with you though. This has been my go-to shoe for the last 10 years, and recently, over the last 12 months, I've been exploring some different shoes, and a lot of them have had some serious issues for me, and it made me realize, like, you know what, we should be doing shoe reviews. And so normally it's me and my co-creator Rush on these videos, but today is a solo video where I'm going to be talking about this shoe, my first thoughts and impressions, and then we're going to do a time warp into the future, and I'm going to tell you what this shoe has been like. So it's super honestly brutal and real. In fact, it's so real I didn't even really get ready for this video. I mean, I don't know what this stain is. I haven't showered for the day. I just got back from my run. I'm salty and gross. So we're gonna get to know each other really well. Anyway, first impressions about this shoe just out of the box is that the box itself is one of the coolest boxes I've ever seen on a pair of shoes. And not that that has anything to do with your experience as a runner, because let's be honest, the only thing that really matters is what's on your foot. And the shoes themselves, they're really nice looking. They're a recognizable Kinvara with some differences that have come along over the last couple of iterations that are new to me since I've been off experimenting with other companies and brands and shoes, which maybe I never should have done. But anyway, you sneakerheads out there might notice something about this shoe. It's got some very feminine colors to it, and that's because this is a woman's shoe. The reason it's a woman's shoe is because I'm not a super tall guy. I'm only 5'9", and if you go to any runner's store, a specialty shop, they are bound to have a size in women's that fits you as a man if you're under 5'9" and don't have monstrous clown feet. And so that's kind of my go-to move if I want to find some shoes in my size that fit really well and are on the cheap. So, side note, pro tip. And for me, one of the things that's really important about a shoe is that it can hold up to really, really high mileage, because I hate buying them so much. And the Kinvara has always been that way. What's not the same on this shoe though, the Kinvara on this newer model, and actually I think it started with the Kinvara 9, is this doesn't have any kind of rubber tread on the bottom of the shoe. It just has a small little piece right here and a little piece on the heel. And that's something that I'm a little bit concerned with, because I just finished wearing a pair of shoes with a similar sole, and they wore out faster than any other pair of legit running shoes I've ever owned in my entire life. It was a pair of Hokas. The shoe, it looks beautiful. It's a recognizable Kinvara. It breathes really well. It's comfortable on your feet. It's not too heavy. It's solid enough to be an everyday trainer, but it's light enough to race like a marathon or a half marathon or even a 10K in. And it does well enough on trails that I don't feel the need to buy a pair of really expensive trail shoes. If you're a serious trail runner, obviously these are not going to be the best fit for you, but if you're like me, who mostly runs rural trails, like trails within the city or dirt paths and occasionally goes up into the mountains, this does great for all of that. And my experience in the past with this shoe has been that it's a really nice, high mileage shoe. I've been able to get a lot of miles out of these things, like up to 300 or 400 miles in some cases, on a single pair of Kinvaras. Granted, I'm running those things into the ground and they are really beat up by the time that I'm done, but that's something that's important to me. I feel like that's getting bang for your buck, and for me, that's high on the priorities list. One other thing that I'm noticing before taking it out is that On the Kinvara, you'll notice that there's these, it's almost like a plastic material. It's like a very thin rubber. And on a lot of shoes, that rubber extends down into between the fabric of the shoe and the sole of the shoe. And that's really important for me in a high mileage shoe, because the outside or inside of the shoe, right around the toe box, always winds up ripping for me. And the most recent pair of shoes that I wore and tried that were not Kinvaras, they ripped along the inside of the foot, and my foot started coming out of the shoe, and it instantly, the moment that happened, the shoes were done. On these shoes, just looking at them, it's hard to tell whether or not they have any kind of reinforcing material that wraps around the shoe and goes in between this fabric and the sole to prevent that from happening, which I've never had a problem with that with Kinvaras in the past, but this is a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing. So I'm gonna go run 100 miles in this over the next couple weeks and tell you what they're like.
Can you see that? My whole head is lopsided.
I'm back. It's been a while. Not for you, it's only been like 20 seconds. But for me, it's been like a month and a half, and it's sort of like we're in a time machine together. I've experienced a lot, and you've just experienced a teeny tiny bit since I introduced this video. Anyway, a lot has happened since I first recorded the introduction and unboxing of my Kinvara 10s. My family and I all got COVID, which wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The flu is actually a lot worse, at least in my opinion. Since I started this video, we also inherited a golden retriever puppy, and Rush is in Hawaii, but he's quarantined for 2 weeks, so he's in paradise, but he can't enjoy it, so you just have me right now. I want to talk about how these shoes did. I have put roughly 170 miles on these shoes since I started this video. It's been probably 6 weeks since I recorded the first part. But if you look at the bottom of these shoes, the sole, you'll notice that they are holding up pretty well, especially when compared to the sole of the Walmart shoes I had been trying out, but not as great as I would hope, because like I said, past Kinvaras, they used to have these little rubber triangle treads across the bottom of the shoe, and I felt like that gave more life to the bottom of the shoe, the sole. And I feel like without that rubber sole, that point where I have to get a new pair of shoes is going to come earlier. Besides that, I love this shoe. Pretty much every single pair of running shoes I have ever owned has a break-in period of 1 to 2 weeks. And during that 1 to 2 weeks, I always get some sort of really bad blister or wound, usually on the back of my Achilles tendon, just above my heel, or on my anterior tibialis tendon, which is the exact same spot except on the front of my leg, just above the foot. Saucony put this like padding on all around those spots that usually chafe around your ankle, and they covered it with like a really, really soft, like, I don't know what the material is, but it was just like this cushion, almost like silky, soft cotton. I don't know what this is, but not only did I not have any kind of chafing, it was the most comfortable brand new shoe I have ever worn. They have it on the back, and they also have it on the tongue of the shoe. It's amazing. These shoes are so comfortable. So far, these have been holding up better than Kinvaras that I've had in the past in terms of like the toe box. I'm not noticing any ripping along the edge of the upper portion of the shoe and the sole. They're really lightweight, they're really comfortable, and overall, I'd give these shoes like an 8.5 out of 10. I don't really have a formula for coming up with that, but a 10 out of 10 would be a perfect shoe. And I feel like the thing that keeps this from being a perfect shoe is the lack of like a hard rubber pattern or tread on the sole of the shoe, because I can tell this is starting to wear down. It's probably meant to, but I just like have a really big problem with like planned obsolescence in products, especially when a simple solution to make something last longer exists. And the solution to make the sole on this shoe last longer is to have a firm rubber sole, a tread that covers the entire bottom of the shoe. And this doesn't have that. It makes it an issue because it's slippery on rocks when they're wet. It's an issue because you can't run on snow and ice with these, which right now isn't a big deal because we're in the middle of summer. But if I was wearing these in the winter, I go out every single day, regardless of the weather, regardless of the conditions on the ground. And these are gonna slip and slide a little bit more. So that's the reason I wouldn't give these a 10 out of 10, but otherwise, these are some of the best running shoes I have ever worn. This is probably the best lightweight trainer there is on the market, made by any company. I know that's a big statement to make, but that's part of what's kept me with Kinvara with Saucony and the Kinvara for so many years. So I'm gonna start reviewing a lot of different shoes made by a lot of different companies, so is Rush, and we're gonna give you the facts on all of them. But I wanted to start out really strong with the Kinvara 10. If you buy this shoe, you are not going to regret it. It's one of the best shoes I've ever had. Thanks so much for watching this channel. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether or not you like Kinvaras, why or why not. What shoe should I review next? And what are you guys interested in seeing? We would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and stick around because Rush is gonna be making some vlogs out of Hawaii, which is gonna be really interesting. But he's gonna get fat. 2 weeks without, he can't do anything, just sit in his hotel room. So, sucks to be in Hawaii right now. We'll see you guys later. Bye.